Good morning everyone, today we're checking out a brand new video from Connie X about the full evolution lines for the Death Generals. Honestly, badass name. Now, let's hop into the video and see what we can learn about these, 8? I don't
The
know.
Death Generals from Digimon Cross Wars, or Digimon Fusion if you're nasty. The big bad group of that initial season. But something
Oh, yeah, technically 8. Huh, okay, I wasn't completely wrong.
interesting about Digimon Cross Wars, of course, is the concept of Digicross. Digimon that debuted in Digimon Cross Wars didn't really have levels, only getting assigned them in future, like the silly choice to make Decadramon a champion. So really, at the time, the only evolution we saw for the Death Generals was that Digicross, all ending up in Grand Generamon. That got me thinking, what would their individual evolution
Man, I'll be honest, I do not remember these things at all.
lines be if they showed up in something outside of Digimon Cross Wars? Obviously, members of the Death Generals have showed up outside of Cross Wars. If they showed up as a group and had pre-evolutions, what would they be? Now you might be thinking, Khan, it's not Spooktober, why are you talking about the Death Generals evolution lines? Because every day of every month is a living horror right now, so strap in.
Oh, that's a good line. Alright, Con, let's go.
What is up, digital companions? My name is Khan EX and welcome back to another video. And yes, Digivolution lines for the Death Generals from Cross Wars. Now yes, Digimon Evolution is free and the Death Generals come from a season that was literally designed to be incredibly free and kind of megazordy with its evolution. However, I just think it's fun to talk about evolution lines like we see in the anime for the partner Digimon. V-Pet style evolution is super valid, but I also like trying to find these curated evolution lines, especially because we've only really seen the prominent outings of most of these be in a Digicross setting. It's also interesting we have a mixed level group here with 4 Megas and 3 Ultimates. I've also discussed before there are a lot of similarities between the Digimon Frontier Spirits and the Death Generals. I do think they seem to be a deliberately parallel group, if not
Oh yeah, there's a Splashmon.
intentionally locked together. Indeed, this even manifested when we got Digimon Frontier DIM cards for the Vital Bracelet, with a bunch of members of the Death Generals filling in slots on those DIMs. So either, in my opinion, we definitely use the Frontier Spirits, or we definitely do not. So I guess I'll try to do non-spirit lines just to keep this from being muddied with the lore of Frontier, but when I can, I absolutely will acknowledge where a really fun connection to a Digimon Frontier Spirit might be. And hey, if you like these Digimon videos as we ramp up to the release of Digimon Story Time Stranger, Digimon Beat Break, and Digimon Elysian, what an insane next year we're gonna have for Digimon. I would love it if you subscribed and joined me along the way. No sponsor on this video. Like and subscribing means the world. If I can get that 100,000 subscriber plaque from YouTube and prove how much Digimon means to so many people.
Alright everyone, let's actually take a look and see how far away he is. He is about 22.4k away. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to need 22.4 thousand people to help us.
That would mean the world to me. Alright, so we begin with Apollomon, who is a mega level Digimon associated with the sun, and his day is Sunday. This one's nice and easy. Apollomon existed before Cross Wars. His rookie was the mascot Digimon for Digimon World Dawn. It's Coronamon, Pheramon, Flaremon, and Apollomon, but of course I will add Whispered mode here, just to keep in that Death General vibe, and of course Apollomon did become Whispered in Cross Wars. If you did want to tie into the Frontier Spirits more, though, I do think Flamemon would be a great rookie, or a Goonimon a great champion. But let's be real here, even the Death General Whispered mode Apollomon is still going to digivolve from the regular Coronamon line. Interestingly though, the moon counterpart to Apollomon's sun in the Death Generals is not Dianamon, but instead Neovamdamon or Neomyotismon. It makes all the sense in the world that its pre-evolution would be Neodevimon, given the historic connection between Devimon and Myotismon. Devimon has digivolved into Myotismon in many media, and Devimon was the bad guy that kind of preceded Myotismon in Digimon Adventure. It would be incredibly funny to add Lunamon somewhere into Neomyotismon's evolution line, just to kind of keep that Coronamon-Lunamon matching pair going of the sun and moon, but it's a little unlikely to me. What you could do though is have the line start at Lunamon, then get corrupted becoming the Vampiric Sonlumon, and then Neodevimon. If you're not familiar, Neodevimon specifically would be the pre-evolution here, because Neodevimon gets its name from Neo-Cyber, a V-Tamer. Not quite sure why Neomyotismon gets the Neo suffix, other than being like a new version of Myotismon. And it would also be tempting to use an Arcadiamon here again for that V-Tamer reference. However, I think personally the most likely evolution line is Demi-Devimon, who was Myotismon's servant in Adventure, then to regular Devimon, as I said, that connection is cemented, then Neo-Devimon, and then Neomyotismon. Though you could have Neomyotismon digivolve from regular Myotismon if you wanted to, I guess. Part of me does like an all-vampire line of Dracmon to Sonlumon to Myotismon and then Neomyotismon. Despite having a Death General of Sun, we also have a Death General General of Fire, Dorbikmon, who commands Dragonland. Really, for this one, I can't think of a ton of really appropriate evolutions, other than combining the fire and dragon elements that Dorbikmon has dominion over. So perhaps the evolution line could be Gaussmon, who was in Cross Wars, a very prominent Cross Wars debut Digimon, into Flareizamon and then Voltramon before finally Dorbikmon. Though I do think Sonorizamon could also be a good pre-evolution for Dorbikmon, the heat of the desert sand. I don't know. Some Digimon we see in Dragonland with Dorbikmon include Betamon, Breakymon, Dark Tyrannomon, and indeed Flareizamon, so I do think he would be very likely to be the
no kinds of Agumon
champion. I don't so much see Betamon as the rookie, unfortunately, so I do think I prefer Gaussmon here, or even Sonorizamon. Though Dragonland itself is not particularly deserty. I don't dislike Gigadramon or Megadramon as pre-evolutions here either, given that they also show up in Dragonland, but I think I like Voltramon more. It hints to that fire element that Dorbikmon has. And Salamandermon is seen in Dragonland, so I think that's okay. Then is Splashmon, the Water Death General, who is an ultimate level, not a mega level. He also has domain over Cyberland, which is a little different given his water theming. And I just don't think the Digimon we see in Cyberland are going to make good pre-evolutions. Andromon and Metal Tyrannomon, not really. Sealsdramon, could work, I guess. Waymon... Well, even if it's Waymon champion, personally, no. I do think a nice champion for Splashmon could be Gessomon, though. It would be a nice parallel to Calamaramon, given my belief in the similarity between it and the Water Spirits. And yeah, obviously Ranamon would also be fine here, but I don't know. I have absolutely no problem with masculine presenting Digimon turning out into feminine presenting Digimon and vice versa. And actually, if we did have...
I mean, technically speaking, all Digimon are just code. They have no gender or sex or anything like that. And so, the form they take in one can literally change into the next. Hell, there's actually a Pokemon out there that has a chance that when it evolves, goes from one gender to the next. I think it was a Zoomerol.
Of Ranamon, it would be a great nod to Ruka, which was made of Splashmon's Drippin in Cross Wars, and seemed to be a girl. But then it could also go against Splashmon's character to have a Digivolve from Ranamon, even though they're both kind of mean-spirited in their series. The existence of Ruka, though, could give us Rukamon, aka Dolphmon, as another contender for Splashmon's champion. The rookie, as an aside, you really could go anywhere with a water rookie Digimon. I personally think Shakomon would be kind of cute as Splashmon's rookie. However, something to note is Splashmon is aquatic Beastman type, and one very specific Digimon in that small category I do think would work quite well as a Prevo, and that is Depthmon, which is also an aquatic Beastman type and a Armor Digimon. Personally, I think I do prefer Gessomon, however, that aquatic Beastman type matchup with Depthmon is quite compelling. Then for a Mega from Splashmon itself, well, the Tiger theme of Splashmon Darkness Mode does rather make me want to make it Baihumon, and I don't think that's the worst, but admittedly, Baihumon's element is...
It'd be a little too strong.
Not water, unlike Splashmon. However, what sealed the deal for a Mega to me was Splashmon's Digimon reference book listing, which states, by transforming itself into liquid and moving from liquid to liquid, it can freely turn into a person or Digimon. This makes it proficient at spy work. This ability for mimicry made me think of exactly one Mega level Digimon, Metamormon from Digimon V Tamer. A Digimon with a terrifying ability to copy the abilities of the opponents that it battles and transform into said monsters. After transformation, the opponent's abilities and original strength are added to its own, so it will always be stronger than they are. It pulverizes the opponent with its special move, Transirave. It's a virus, it's a Mega level, it copies the form of its opponent, and it has this kind of liquidy form. It's perfect to me. So I think here's what my ultimate kind of like evil aquatic line...
I wasn't for it at first because I've never seen it, but that's actually pretty okay.
...for Splashmon is Swimmon, simple little fish, right? Fish are swimmers, to Gessomon, to Splashmon and its Darkness Mode, and finally Metamormon. However, I have talked about before that Splashmon Darkness Mode heavily resembles the Garurumon family. So perhaps an alternative could be kind of also preserving the tiger part of the water tiger leader, but shifting to a more evil line-ish. From Garurumon could be Psychemon to Gururumon to Splashmon in Darkness Mode, and then, yeah, Baihumon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Zamielmon...
I still feel like using Baihumon would be a bit of a stretch, considering it's meant to be one of the 4 Digimon sovereigns. It's meant to be one of the strongest Digimon that naturally can walk the lands.
One is also an ultimate or perfect level. Its element is wood, its day is Thursday, and it occupies Honeyland. Okay. Digimon in Honeyland tend to be more like plant life Digimon, which I guess does work quite well for Zamielmon. Things like Blossomon, Floramon, Honeybeemon naturally. Zamielmon is the leader of the Wood Spirit army of the big Death Stars or Death Generals. Many Digimon that can blend in with regions like woodlands and meadows are affiliated with this army, such as Pixie and Vegetation Digimon. And I do think Weedmon or Zasomon would be great here. It's the non-spirit Zamielmon Prevo on the dim card, and I like that their names both begin with Z. But of course, Ardmon would also be great and is also on that dim card. I'm actually personally thinking that Tinkermon could be a good rookie given its spears that it shares with Zamielmon and them being on the same dim card, but I don't think Monmon or Aurorumon are terrible picks either. There's also compelling reasons to plant Zamielmon in the traditional Ogremon line, as it also resembles Grottemon and Gigasmon, the Earth Spirit Digimon. It's a bit more Goblin or Ogre-esque, so a line of Goblinmon to Ogremon to Zamielmon and Titamon I don't think is awful at all. My only real detraction from this one is Zamielmon losing any inkling of something like a club that the others have in its line. So either there's that, or the one I quite like and my personal little headcanon of
I would try and throw in something from the Puppetmon line.
Zamielmon as the Wood Spirit Army leader, and given some of the Digimon that do show up in Honeyland, Mushmon to Woodmon to Zamielmon, and then basically any wooden mega. But I actually do like Puppetmon given their similar cunning and wickedness, and it would kind of call back again.
Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. The Puppetmon is a level higher than him and comes from Cherrywoodmon.
And to the fact that we use some adventure references in Neomyotismon's evolution line too. Olegmon, the element of gold, which is kind of like metal if you think about it, or steel, residing over Goldland. Digimon in Goldland are a little bit all over the place. We've got Digimon like Bitmon, as well as Coronamon and Lunamon, Mermaidmon, Marine Devimon, and Pitchmon and Spartamon. I don't know, nothing really lands on an Olegmon Prevo for me, but I really have grown to love Blizzamon as a pre-evolution for Olegmon. It feels so intentional with their respective twin axes and that connection between the Death Generals and the Spirits. However, I've also grown fond of Olegmon as a potential Ankylamon / Shakuamon mega, so I could maybe include Ankylamon here too. Interestingly, Olegmon is Marine Beast type, which it shares with Omamon, Ikakumon, Zudomon, and Vikemon. That really does indicate some kind of connection between the Crest of Reliability and, by extension, Armadillomon and Ankylamon, who use the Digi-Egg of Reliability, So how about a compromise? Fold in as much as we can there. Armadillomon to Ankylamon to Zudomon, and then Olegmon. That's not bad at all in my opinion. I like it.
No, that actually is not too bad. That is actually pretty good. You could even think about as like when it becomes a Kilamon, it gains the Mace Tail. But then when it becomes a Wudamon, the Mace Tail turns into the Thunderous Hammer. And then from Zudomon to Olegmon, the Hammer transforms into dual broad axes.
And if you do want to use Blizzamon, well, it fits in the middle there pretty nicely too. Olegmon also has the red and blue axes, so using Blizzamon as the pre-evolution works even better, and you consider that Daipenmon is the legitimate fusion spirit of the Ice Spirits. You could consider Blizzamon the Ice Age for Ankylamon, which transforms it from dinosaur to beastman. Alright, maybe that's a stretch. Some other contenders for Olegmon pre-evolutions that I do quite like though include Vicaralamon. Something about it just works for me. And Mammothmon and Rhinomon I also think would be very good for Olegmon. But my little reliability merging evolution line is probably my favorite. And finally that brings us to Gravimon, another ultimate with the element of Earth, who exists in Canyonland. I sort of get why gravity and Earth are related, but the Earth as a kind of like mineral or as a substance versus Earth's gravity always felt like two very different concepts to me. As the Earth god, Gravimon would seemingly have a connection to the frontier spirits of Earth, but I just don't know. The visuals definitely aren't there. So while I will use Earth and by extension like fields as inspiration, I want to lean more into Gravimon's spindly visuals and mastery of gravity. In New Century, Gravimon...
Something about it looks like he's been crushed and stretched over and over.
Gravimon digivolves to Blastmon, which I actually kinda like. Despite their differences, I do see some kind of cohesion here, especially as Gravimon...
Now, hold on. I'm sorry, Con, but even I would have to say no to this. I mean, first off, you have Gravimon, who looks literally like a damn twig, and you get wrapped in paper, becoming Blastmon, who is already 10 times his size in width alone. To become Blastmon, Gravimon would have to eat a whole ass mountain.
Gravimon's gravity could be seen as the pressure that forms diamonds and crystals, building up a hard armor around what was once a thin, frail body. For the champion, I see a fairly common love in the fandom for Starmon for Gravimon. Maybe this is due to falling stars, gravity's effect on them, etc., but I just don't know. I do like it though. A really funny twist of fate is that Beetlemon's Digimon reference book listing states, Beetlemon uses its movements, which are strangely nimble in spite of its size, to generate a high voltage current that then courses through its body. It uses this current to generate a special magnetic magnetic field that results in an almost anti-gravitational state that lets it move at high speeds. This weirdly feels exactly like Clock Up from Kamen Rider Kabuto, which Kamen Rider Gattack looks very similar to Beetlemon or Blitzmon, but Blitzmon came first. But it is kind of funny that Gravimon shares that gravity theme with another spirit. I think visually Chrysalimon is fantastic as a prevo to Gravimon. It being a Chrysalis kind of adds to our theme of the weaker, spindly creature, eventually growing stronger and hardening its exterior as Blastmon, and then, yeah, Keramon works fine as the rookie. Can't shake I'm missing something with Gravimon though, so give me your thoughts in the comments. But that is it, our evolution lines for the Digimon Death Generals from Cross Wars if they didn't Digicrop.
Wait a minute, what about Skull Knightmon? Oh, I guess he's not a Death General, is he? Yeah, right.
Apollomon's line, of course, is Coronamon to Pheramon to Flaremon to Apollomon, and then it's Whispered Mode. Neomyotismon, I am gonna side with Demi-Devimon to Devimon to Neo-Devimon, and then Neomyotismon. Dorbigmon's Fire Element would get Gaussmon, Flarerizamon, Voltramon, and of course, Dorbigmon himself. Splashmon would either go Swimmon to Gessomon to Splashmon and Darkness Mode to Metamormon, or Psychemon to Garurumon to Splashmon Darkness Mode, and finally Baihumon.
That one I can't sign off on.
I'm siding with Mushmon to Woodmon to Zamielmon to Puppetmon, but give me your picks below. Olegmon, Armadillomon to Ankylamon to Zudamon, or yeah, Blizzamon and Olegmon. And finally Gravimon, Keramon to Chrysalimon to Gravimon and Blastmon. But let me know your picks in the comments down below. This is of course just subjective anime style evolution lines, but Digivolution is free, so let me know all your fun ideas in the comments down below. Thank you to my sovereign ZDK14, everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/CarnEX, and everyone who supports me over here on YouTube. I do appreciate you. I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye-bye.
Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see y'all next time when we flick back on. Until then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.